Sometimes people call me a producer. It's not my preference, but I'm over-caring about it. What I do isn't significantly different from a plumber or a carpenter or any other person that has skills that are useful in creating something, but where they're not the driving creative force. I'm not responsible for the music on the records that I record. What I'm responsible for is not dropping the ball in the making of the record.
Steve Albini is one of these guys. He's a legend. He's a living myth, an important gear in the machinery of modern music. He's a producer that is wary of calling himself a producer.
The simple truth is that records sound good when the band sounds good.
Could you give a big welcome to Mr. Stephen Albini, please?
I honestly can't explain why poker appeals to me. I'm not a competitive person by nature. And I think part of what fascinates me about it is that it is so different from my real life. By far, the most enjoyable poker experience that I had regularly was playing in the Tuesday game. Russ Arbuthnot, who worked at the studio, had an apartment above the Alliance Bakery, and he started a poker game there, and through strength of will, he turned it into a regular game. Just, you know, come hell or high water, he was gonna have a game every Tuesday. And it just developed a core of players. Russ got busy with work and eventually moved to Michigan, and so I became the de facto host of the Tuesday game. It was a magnet for good-natured people who were friendly with each other, who wanted to play cards. And it just turns out that in that circle, and as that circle sort of widened very slightly, were some very talented players. Brian Hastings, who is a terrific player, Matt Graventine, stud bracelet, Jason Gola, a Raz bracelet, Nate Silver, the statistician, Brandon Shack-Harris, he has a couple of bracelets.
Take one.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I remember being a part of a poker forum called 2+2. We both posted in a sub-forum for the stud players, the mixed game players. One of the bands that I was doing work for at the time were really big fans, but I didn't realize that it was the same person I'd been playing with. And I saw that he was from my area, and I'm pretty sure I just shot him a message and asked him if he knew of any, home games in the area, and he was really welcoming. All I really wanted at the end of that day was the invite back, really. I'm like, these people are fucking great. I love these people. I felt like I had found a home in Chicago.
That's a really good flop for me. I just want you to know, that's a really good flop for Uncle Steve.
I was playing a bunch in this game, and then he was like, hey, we're all gonna take a trip to Vegas. You ever been to Vegas? Like, no, it sounds awful. And he was like, yeah, Vegas is awful. And he was like, but you should come.
Vegas is a shithole. There's just no two ways around it. Everything there is completely phony. It's like a low-class person's idea of what high class is. It's like a mob bathroom. It is, however, where once a year the World Series of Poker happens, and that is the greatest environment for a poker player.
I am with the legend, Mr. Steve Albini.
I started going to the World Series on an annual basis, I think in 2010. And I did well enough on that first trip that it sort of gave me encouragement to go back. But 2018 was a kind of a rough year. I wasn't doing well in the cash game, so I didn't have a big bankroll. And when I looked at the World Series schedule, almost all of the events that I wanted to play were occurring during the early part of the series where I wouldn't be available because my band was going to be on tour. I almost didn't even bother going.
No, I knew he was going to play. I knew he was going to play, and I knew he was going to do fine. I've been telling him that he could win a bracelet for a long time, and he's been downplaying it.
I asked around to see if other people wanted to take pieces of me, and Brandon instantly said, well, I'll take 30% of whatever you want to do.
I like it when my friends have a vested interest in my journey. That's amazing to me. Like, that's awesome to me. And I definitely believe in Steve. And I wanted to have as big a piece as he'd give me.
Whenever a friend of yours encourages you, there's always part of you that thinks that, he's just being nice. He's a friend of mine. He's just being nice, 30% is a significant piece, so that made an impression on me.
Welcome back to Las Vegas for the World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky.
Event 31 was 7-card stud, 3-day, $1,500 buy-in tournament.
We started with 310 players. We are down to 7.
I woke up in the morning hearing Steve made the final table. I just fucking broke down. I was in the shower bawling. I'm tearing up now. And I came downstairs and Stephanie, who's my fiance, she thought my grandma died. She was like, babe, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, he fucking made it. He fucking made the final table. I don't know. I was just I was just so happy for my friend. But that final table was stacked. He had to go through a lot of really accomplished poker players.
Chris Ferguson and Jeff Lissandro each look for World Series of Poker bracelet number 7. Lissandro won 3 bracelets in one summer.
3 in one summer and 3 in 3 different stud variants.
Clearly an expert in the game.
It's definitely not the case that you have to be the best player to win. And I don't think I was the best player by any definition at that final table. But I had played specifically a lot of 7-card stud, and I didn't make the kind of bust-yourself mistakes that could have knocked me out.
Means Ferguson will need an ace or a deuce here.
3 pair, beats 2.
The squeeze for Chris.
No good.
No good. Chris Ferguson out in 4th place. There is Brandon Shack-Harris in the black beanie.
He got heads up with Lissandro. He went in with the chip lead, and I'm stoked, and I feel like everything's gonna be good. And then he lost his chip lead twice.
Big pot goes Jeff Lissandro's way.
All of a sudden, he's down 3-1, and I'm like, fuck, this is really bad. I wasn't sure how I was feeling about how well this could go. But he was just in there, pretending like nothing had fucking happened to him.
I didn't have a lot of heads-up experience. I'm aware of the fact that he's got more chips than me. I'm aware of how many bets I have in my stack. I'm not so concerned about the ratio between his stack and my stack. I just wanted to avoid busting myself, and then I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss a spot that presented itself. I mean, Jeff Lissandro's a great player. He's won stud bracelets, but he did have some sort of persistent tendencies that I noted, and that by being aware of them, I think it helped him.
And with that pot, we're just about all square once again.
While you're playing, you're preoccupied, so it's just hand after hand after hand after hand. You're playing, and then suddenly it's over and you stop.
A pair of 10s for Albini. Albini's ahead. Lissandro needs to catch a queen or a jack here. He does not, and it is over. Stephen Albini has his first World Series of Poker bracelet.
I have to admit that when the final hand was over and I had all the chips and I had won the tournament, I didn't really believe that I had won the tournament, because it's not something that I had ever really contemplated.
He came running over with the bracelet and he was fucking shaking it, and anyways, yeah, that was pretty cool.
There wasn't really a big, crazy celebration. I think we went out and got noodles. Yeah, it was really late. It was 4 in the morning by the time we got out of there.
The reason why I started playing poker in the first place was Chris Ferguson, and seeing him sitting at a table with my buddy from the basement, I couldn't believe it.
Just fun to see one of the good guys in poker
win it all.
When he won the bracelet, I was doing commentary. We were on a 30-minute delay, and I was getting texts that he had won, but I had to sit and pretend for the next half an hour that I didn't know who won, and at the time, he was behind quite a bit in chips. It looks like Steve's pretty much out of it. Like, I don't know how he's going to come back from this.
I've gotten used to sweating guys from this game for a bracelet, but Steve wasn't expected, so it was the most joyous. It's the closest feeling to the rest of us being there. You know, it's like he was the Rudy of everyone here.
Hang on. I win the side pot.
Oh, that's all. No.
The amount of money that I won is significant to me. I'm a working stiff. I'm a regular guy, you know. But money is just a tool like anything else. If you have money, then you can do other things, and the other things that you're doing are the important things. For me, success is being able to carry on. This thing that I'm doing that animates me, that is super gratifying to me, I get to keep doing that super gratifying thing. I get to continue being in a band and making records and working with people that I admire and respect. Winning a bracelet is a nice bit of recognition, but they're kind of tacky.
The box is actually slightly nicer than the bracelet. It's really gratifying to have won one, really unpleasant to wear.
I, Stephen Frank Albini, being of sound mind, hereby grant you license to use these images and words and my speech and my likeness and the contents of my soul and the description of my character and any tells that I may have given off for in perpetuity for the project of the PokerGO TV thing streaming online forever.